asked for the increase. Service members were paying 8.25, and they're now paying 10.25 already. So that could be a possibility that that could change as well. So if that happens, it will be the employees on the service side that could get hurt with that. So maybe at some point, a lot of the lobbyist group have been lobbying that the state take care of that portion and don't give those to the employees and the school districts. Because basically you give us money, but we're paying out all these anyway. So just take care of it and don't give us the money. And then please take more care of it at that point. So that's really, because a lot of people do get hurt in it. When you go from 8.25 to a 10.25 self-contribution, that's a lot for that as well. And so that's for the service folks.
Yes. I just want to thank you. Your confidence is really deeply appreciated.
Thank you. I anticipate what kind of questions you will ask. So every night you meet, I'm like texting Karen at night, very late at night. Karen, I think this board member is going to ask me this question. I'm in there. So I hope I cover every question out that you could have. I already anticipate already in 2 weeks.
So I'm going to give you a freebie.
Oh my gosh,
What
you are?
What do I expect to ask you?
You're not going to ask me anything because I'm
But unfortunately, I do have a couple of questions. Well, one of the first ones was the home-to-school transportation, right? It's $3.9 million funding. I see that we got to adopt a plan. What is something that's different that we got to do to get the potential $3.9 million?
You don't have to do more. I think it's basically, some of the districts, for example, they're not transporting as much as we have. Our district actually, we transport a lot of our students. Most districts, for example, charge a lot of students, and then so the idea is hopefully then they can take that money and then we do some of the cost for the families as well. And really it's then they prioritize the TK to 6 as well as the, for the free and reduced students. I mean, currently,
So it's only for free and reduced?
Yes, so,
charge.
yes, so that, currently, for example, if you take our bus, we don't, if you're free and reduced, we don't charge you already. And so, and we provide a lot of routes already for our families already at this point that a lot of districts do not provide. Like a lot of, I know a lot of school districts, even for the high schools, they don't even provide for them, but we do that a lot. So we can definitely take a look to see what other things we can do. But the issue is this, we've been providing this out of the general fund. We never got funded enough. So don't think about that they gave us more money. It just, we never got paid for it.
Okay.
We are spending more than $6 million already at this point. So they're just basically paying us back for all, not paying back, so paying us now to provide this service. Yeah. Because this money has never gotten a COLA since the LCF funding model went in 2013. That's the problem. So that money has stuck there for all these years, almost 10 years at this point.
Thank you. The second question is learning recovery emergency block grant. So you have about $48 million, that's a one-time. Is that something that we could use for facilities? I'm thinking about Cook Auditorium, right? Is that something that we could take a look at?
I don't have to watching. I think we.
Well, I got some chuckles from there, so.
Over there. This is something that we'll have to probably, come up with a plan and to see what we can do. I know we have different ideas. We know we need to fix up Cook. We've been there multiple times at this point. We are working hard to come up with a plan to see for short term as well as for long term at this point. But we do have a plan, and then we did set aside some dollars when we took the budget back in June. And we do need to fix something. Maybe the board will have to act on it and take some money from general fund to fix that if we need to. But we will find every opportunity. This will also be helping kids to perform as well. So I'm sure we can try the best we can to make sure that it will be part of the allowable expenses for that as well. But there's different ways we can do it. Yeah.
Perfect. Well,
Okay.
thank you.
I'm sorry.
said you were prepared.
I am very prepared. We've been studying for many weeks.
Going back to the special education funding,
Mhm.
does this make us whole?
No, absolutely not. And so we are still, quote unquote, making contributions to special education. I know we're looking very forward to working with our new director as well to look at different programs, looking at some expenditures as well. We are declining enrollment overall, but not in special education. And so that's one of the things that, we are looking at those numbers as making sure that, we are looking at different things in that program as well. And I know that Amy she's already come to talk to us and wanting to learn the different areas within that as well.
But I know it's something that we have.
So this is great news. They gave us the base, but yeah, so it's good, but it's not great because like we are still deficit spending at this point with that, and they would need to give us a lot more to make us whole at this point. So great, and that's.
Dovetail on that, because this funding is from the state.
Mhm.
In other words, but has the federal government improved any of the amount that they have been giving us?
So the problem is, yeah, so we received the IDEA dollars from the federal government for special education. We spent every single dollar of it, plus more. I mean, so whatever that we don't have enough, then the district kicks in the balance, so that we call it the contribution.
But they haven't raised the amount.
They have raised a little bit, but it's not, significant enough for us.
Actually,
No.
purely small.
It's small, it's small. Mhm, mhm. So, they need the services, we totally understand, and so I think the goal is, for example, down the road is, if you're gonna give us base funding plus any augmentation, please give us augmentation for all these other programs versus just on the base funding. So they just give it to just.
With the transportation, that will help, because a lot of our transportation is for special ed.
Definitely, and this will help. Yeah, so it will reduce down but we track them separately. The transportation budget is separate than the special education budget. But it is a contribution model, meaning that they don't receive enough funding for that program as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. May I give you a slight suggestion?
Yes,
On
next
the
time.
summary of funding, I think I've mentioned this to you before in terms
Okay.
of this being a public document, right?
Yes,
So the summary of funding, if you go to the third column, if you can just put fiscal impact projected for AUHSD, because if you just take that particular site by itself, I'm always cognizant of the fact that, people sometimes pull documents in print paper, and then it might be not understood by the public. So I want to make sure that we'll just include AUHSD in there.
So on okay,
It's page 11, fiscal impact column.
okay, this one, okay, just for our district, okay.
Appreciate it. Great presentation.
Thank you. And I did it under 15 minutes, okay.
All right, we go to 8.2, Summer Arts Academy, and June 3, let's introduce
Yeah, so I'm super excited to have Mr. Ryan Belsky, our Director of Visual and Performing Arts. I know he has colleagues in the audience who are tremendously worked and a part of this great work. So I bring him up. He's going to talk for the board request an overview of Summer Arts Academy, what we've been doing, and the impact it's had on our students. So Mr. Belsky, I'll turn over to you and your team.
Thank you very much. Thank you, President Jabbar and Board of Trustees, Superintendent Matsuda, Executive Cabinet. Appreciate the opportunity to share. I'm excited about this. I've got 4 members of our team that we could not have done any of what we did without the four folks behind us. Sharon King from Anaheim High School, she's theater and Anaheim Performing Arts Conservatory director. Miley Eisenbray, director of dance at Western High School in Orangeview. And next is Carrie Fenton, director of dance from Cypress High School, and Mr. Brian Hogan, the director of choral music from Boston Academy. We all want to work with people that's you ask how you're gonna do something, or can we do this? And if it's good for kids, they say yes, and then we figure out how to do it. I mean, I made a career out of that, and that's, we just figure, if it's good for kids, you say yes, and then you figure out how to do it. And these folks embody that, and I'm thankful, I'm grateful to them for everything that they've done for the summer arts and for the kids in the program and for the students all across the district in visual performing arts. So, Summer Arts Academy began a few years back, 2018, 2019. Let's see if I can get this. There you go. One of my favorite quotes kind of describes what we do. Leonard Bernstein, conductor and composer. To achieve great things, two things are needed: a plan and not quite enough time. And that's what we do. Right? We're going to do what in how much time? It's true in the performing arts. You get folks toward a goal, and you get them unified toward it. You help them, and you structure that so that they learn how to work together, whether it's a team of teachers or if it's a team of students. And it's a self-magnifying thing, right? The power is magnified. The folks move faster and faster and faster the more bought into it they are. These folks behind me, again, are experts at that. So we began in 2018, 2019. We wrote and received a $700,000 Title IV grant for visual performing arts. My thanks to former Director of Special Programs, Susan Stocks, and to former Director of Special Programs, Joe Carmona, for the work that they did together on that. It was incredible. One of the project goals was expanded summer opportunities. We as a district have a pretty significant gap in terms of workforce development in and around the creative industries. And this was a program that was designed to help address that issue. In California, we have a $650 billion creative economy. It employs more than 2.7 million people. And we wanted to bridge the gap between our AUHSD students and those opportunities in creative industries. This is a great graphic. You can't really see it. It's pretty small on the screen from California State PTA, but I think you have it, if you have a printout of it, you can see that there are all of these careers in and around these curricular areas within the arts that are vital career options. These are things that pay the bills and put roofs over families' heads. And we need to make sure that we're connected to these things, and that's one of the things that Summer Arts Academy has done. So in 2018, 2019, we had the funding from this grant, so we built a very robust program. It was in two phases. Phase one was a 2-week workshop series for multiple VAPA curricular areas. We did junior high band, junior high jazz band, high school jazz band, a 7th through 12th grade string orchestra, a digital photo class. That was photo one. It was a 2-week enrichment program, capped off with a band concert at Pearson Park. And then phase two was the first indication that the team was as crazy as I was. And we decided we were going to put together a 5-week production of the Broadway musical Anything Goes, complete with a live orchestra, in a district that hadn't done that in 25 years. So I wrote a new course titled Professional Musical Theater. It gives enrolled students 10 VAPA elective credits, and it also confers career credit for high school graduation. So there's certain opportunities that students have in the summer program that they don't necessarily have during the school year, but the caveat was they had to be enrolled in the VAPA program at their school. So they couldn't take the place of those during the school year programs. It was incredible. It was an amazing thing. We got through, we couldn't believe it. There's the set that we built, and you see kids up there, and the big set, the prop from the boat. But some of the things that we learned was, in talking to the students, there was a shift from I, me to we, us. They began to talk about district visual performing arts programs. They began to see each other at events. They began to go across town to support each other at their, at their events. We created different collaborative events across the district. There's a district collaborative Nutcracker performance. It's several dance programs put on, and the music is played live by the orchestra from Oxford. If you ever get a chance to see that in December, it's pretty incredible. There was capacity building students, there was capacity building staff. Those 2019 kids, they still had a group text, and they were at the show in July. this past summer, and among them were students that are studying music, theater, technical theater, dance in college in preparation for careers in the visual performance. So we had big plans for 2020, huge. We were going to go big. We had ongoing funding built in using formula Title IV funding. Thank you to Joe Carmona again for figuring out how to make that work, because it's a brilliant way to use that SSAE funds. The whole creative team was returning. We had multiple options for shows. We did this huge audition workshop on March 7th. All these kids showed up. We were going to have people could dance, they could sing, they could act, and they were triple threats. And then we closed the campuses. And it was March 13th. And it was a week later. And best laid plans of mice and men, right? So VAPA in COVID, it's actually, there's a 30% drop district-wide in VAPA enrollment, 30%. Bands of 100 turn into 70. But when you're a band of 50, you turn into a band of 30, 35. That's, it was pretty significant. It was the same in dance, it was the same in theater. 40% drop in performing arts enrollment. Our most engaged students didn't, it was like everything else. Even those best students were ghosting us in our classes. And it was a real challenge, because trying to teach the arts to a screen, boy, that was maybe the hardest thing I think any of us have ever done, right? There was a bright spot. There was a visual art enrollment increase, because students they don't want to put themselves out there anymore. They could be creative in the visual arts, but they didn't want to get out there on stage. They just didn't want to do it. In April of 2021, Orange County Healthcare Agency said that we could perform together outdoors. And we moved forward with plans to have a summer performing arts program. So faced with no venue, no students, no show, no plans, I did the most reasonable thing possible. I announced a huge one-night only Broadway review show with performers from across the district, 16 campuses, doing a 2-hour performance at Pearson Park with music from like 9 musicals, I think is what we did. And it was pretty incredible. We did a Google Form sign up. There were no auditions required. We spent the first 2 days in shock. The kids didn't know how to interact. They didn't know how to be performers, and it was weird. Eventually they felt safe and fell in love with performing again. We rehearsed outdoors under canopies for code protocols. There was no show music, there was no orchestra parts, there was no anything. So the team had to write it. They had to write everything, because we weren't doing a musical that you bought the music for and it just showed up. They had to do it all. And we'd find a music arrangement for orchestra. Oh, this is good, but it's in the wrong key for the choir. We have to change all the music for the orchestra so it fits in the right key for the choir to do it. And it was really tough. We rented professional sound, wireless microphone, and the whole crew. We had no idea what to expect. The first day of rehearsals at Pearson Park before the show was the first day. To give you a timeline of like where we were in life at that point, that was the first day that masks were no longer required outdoors for performers. Nobody had attended the event in 16 months. We wondered if we would even see 200 people in the audience. And 1,250 people showed up to watch the arts come back. And this was 2021. It was incredible. Our takeaways from that. The initial student hesitation mirrored what happened in the performing arts programs at the school sites when we started school in August. They were hesitant. But you know what? Those kids from the Summer Arts Academy, they went out to those, they were in those programs, and they were helping. They were bringing those kids along. They were ambassadors of the arts. And they helped rebuild the arts across our district. And that was a huge, the most important thing that we did in 2021 was all about making sure we were addressing students' social and emotional welfare and their needs. And we put together a good show, but I mean, it was all about that. There's 3 students that after graduating the next year entered apprenticeships into tech industry. They're going to work through. They're going to do lighting and sound. That's what they're going to do for their life, and they're going to be really good at it. And we figured out that the students were ready for a full musical for the next year. So that brings us to planning for this year. We built a team that represented all the curricular areas. We added visual art. We added a technical theater teacher. We really went to try to address all the things that we had, the gaps. We had 50 cast members audition. We did an audition workshop where students learned to dance, they learned to sing, they learned to act, and then they rotated to another group, and then they learned to do they all got a chance to do that so that they were prepared coming into the auditions. The auditions were amazing. We had 50 cast members audition, 50 orchestra students. We had 12 tech and design kids show up. Only 8 students in the entire cast of the entire company had ever been to a musical, though. We had actors that had never sung or danced. We had dancers that had never acted or sung. I mean, we didn't know what was going to happen. Day 2 of rehearsals, we lost a lead. She figured out, her counselor called her and said, looks like you're going to have to take summer school. And so we lost a lead in the show on day 2 of rehearsals. And more on that in a second. Here's the set being delivered. And now build it. So there's 4 pictures from this summer. The top left, that next day after we lost that lead, those are the 5 girls that stepped in ready to audition for that role. The top right, that was our first dance rehearsal in the dance room at Western High School. All the kids, if you're looking close on they're all like on their phone trying to figure out where they're at in the script. They don't know how the show works, and like nobody knows anything. And it was kind of a beautiful moment of birth. Bottom left, you're seeing these these art students from across the district that are hand painting a 20-foot by 80-foot backdrop that hung in the back of the stage and created the scene of New York. And the bottom right was our first rehearsal on stage. Thanks for running that, Carrie. Yeah. We had professional audio set up at the stage. We had, get this right. Got the wrong thing here. There we go. There's a little video. Thanks to the team at Mastermind Productions. They do the Oscars and the Grammys and Elton John when he's in town for providing a professional level audio experience for our performers and for taking the time to walk our students through the technology of what was being used, how the things would work together, how all the pieces connect to create an audio palette for the audience. The person doing the audio mixing was mixing 104 channels live at the mixing board during the show. The students learned an awful lot. Jump onto that. And the show was incredible. It was an incredible show. You see on that bottom, on the top, there's just rehearsing at Western High School outside. On the bottom, all of that was done by the students. All of the design was done by John Hoganson, the set design, who's teaching theater at Kennedy. He designed these beautiful set pieces that open and close and create exteriors and interiors all from single pieces because we couldn't move things in. We couldn't fly, couldn't change sets, we couldn't change the scenes, couldn't do anything. There's in the back, you see that set piece that they painted from nothing. We did 2 shows, an audience of about 750 people each night. Thank you, Trustee Smith, for being there and being such a wonderful audience member. I really enjoyed our conversation. And the students appreciate the support. Anytime you see any of your faces at the shows, they really appreciate it.
Well, imagine students talking about the incredible connections that they've made. The students, John's team did this great video, and they interviewed students, and they didn't prompt them with what the questions were beforehand. And they asked them what their takeaways were. Here's my team. What their takeaways were. And, secretly while we're doing all of this stuff, what we learned from the student feedback was they began to see themselves in the industry. Whether as a performer, as a lighting designer, as somebody who's doing costume or makeup or hair, they began to see themselves in the industry. In and around the creative arts, whether it's the performer on stage or the person who puts the light on the person on stage. So students are making connections to these careers in the arts. If you're an audio engineer, you start at 60,000, and if you're A1 audio tech, then in 7-8 years, you're making 6 figures. It's a viable career option. And those careers in the arts, they're fulfilling, they're available, and they'll support a family, they will, even in Southern California. But the arts are important to us as human beings. They give us the opportunity to learn what it means to be more like ourselves and less like everyone else, and to learn what that means. And our students are getting a world-class experience in Summer Arts Camp. And I thank you for your support. Thank my whole team there in that picture, our little family photo. It really has been an incredible experience, and it has been my pleasure. So, thank you for your support.
All right. Please. We have more board member comments or?
I just want to say, we're not as crazy as he makes us. When he talks about us, I feel like we're
So, I had a unique experience this year that I've never had before, directly due to the Summer Arts Academy. I don't think you know about this, so I just wanted to bring it up so you know. There's some schools that don't have theater. So we're very fortunate in Anaheim to have the Performing Arts Conservatory as well as theater. This year I was asked if I would take some students from Savannah that they do not have theater, and so they're doing a concurrent enrollment. So they're at Savannah, but they're coming over in the afternoon to take my theater class. I didn't even know that was possible. So I want to thank you for concurrent enrollment, because students need the arts and they're wanting to come because of the arts, and that's how we keep our students enrolled, and we draw more students by having more arts programs available to our students. Thank you.
May I speak?
Absolutely.
I called Mr. Belsky, and I asked him if he would come and make a presentation to the school board. And Sharon, I saw you weeping over there. And I understand why, because I can't even find the words to express my feelings about your production. You are nothing but gods and goddesses. And don't laugh, because I can't even begin to think of the whole process of how you pulled that together in a short period of time. With costume changes and music, it was beyond anything that you could have imagined. You would think that you told someone in psychology, they said, well, I think you ought to be locked up because don't try this. You can't do it in that short time. And my husband and I walked in, and I was feeling very weak, and my husband had to get in the queue. And there was a family sitting on a bench, and there was one seat on the bench left, and I asked, do you mind if I sit next to you? And so I started chatting with them, and the gal, the lead, she played Ruth, and I remembering that correctly. It was her family. And they didn't know who I was. And so we chatted, and then when it was time to go in, and my husband and I sat down in the front row, and Mr. Belsky introduced us and stood up and thanked everyone. So the play started. And then break came, halftime. And I went into the restroom. And when I came out of the stall, Ruth's mother, I don't remember her real name, but her mother and her younger sister were standing there. And they looked at me and she knew that who I was. And I said, I'm just so blown away by your daughter, her performance. And I don't even want to feel like I'm singling her out, but it was beyond my imagination what this young girl, I think she goes to Kennedy High School, the mother told me. And I said to her younger sister, you must be very, very proud to have an older sister like this. And her mother said to me, she is planning to go to New York. And there is no doubt in my mind that she will be the next person we will be reading about that came from this community. And Sharon, I know why you weep, because this story tonight had to be told to people. It starts with one person over here who leads this band. And those good things that emanate from what this gentleman has done, and I'm pointing to you, I get it because I'm here and I have lived it and I saw it. And the thanks that I have to say to you, the kudos, this is not enough in the language to say you are all miracle workers. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you, one and all. And I understand why you cried, Sharon.
Thank you so much.
I cried too.
That's the record that's Kathleen Jackson, who was who played Ruth to student at Kennedy. And I agree, it was an incredible performance.
Her family said they called her Ruth.
They called her
They
Ruth.
call her Ruth at home. Yeah, I heard she was Ruth for weeks.
I just, the only sad part for me is that you do it 4 or 5 nights. You need more exposure.
So we did 3 when we did, we did 3 when we did the first show. 2 was good with Mark.
I just want to say, I'm really sorry I missed it. I was out of town, and I'm really sorry now because it sounds like it was phenomenal. And I will make sure next summer I will try to make it very, very hard. If I'm in town, I'll be there. So that is great. That is really great. I mean, and I am our supporter, you know that. And I just think that's phenomenal what you guys have been able to accomplish. And what a benefit to those kids, every one of them. I mean, I know that type of an experience will stay forever. So thank you again for all your work.
Now I have audience envy too. I usually attend, and it was really heartbroken that I couldn't make it. But I really knew that the wow factor and what all of you put together for the students. I had experienced it with the other shows, and I just want to thank you all for putting your heart and soul and giving your all to the students. We talk about the mental health factor of what our kids have gone through, and just watching you form, we were talking about, when Brian was talking about how hard it was to try to teach, those skills online, but I know your hearts were filled and full, and you saw what you had done, what you had brought out and given the students, because the arts give students that voice, And so I really thank you for, thinking it in the depth of the career, and giving us that avenue, because a lot of people don't really think that, career, and that's not a career choice, it's extra, it's a fun thing that they do, and they don't understand how hard it is to do that. And I'm a performer myself, and I know I had a chance in April to do a show, and I know what it did for me. So I want to personally thank you for what you gave students. You made them whole. Thank you so much. And you know what, Catherine, I wanna thank this board, and previous boards, and thank the district as a whole, and our own boards, because we've always supported, the arts. We've always fought for the arts, and so, let's add us into that too. Because, we could have said, no, we've got to cut, and we never did.
Well, unfortunately, I was on the East Coast for your presentation, so I would have loved to have been there to see it. I have been supporting the arts for over 40 years, coming to presentations, and I've just seen the growth throughout the district. And I'm very pleased, as Mr. Ramphel said, about the district and how we have supported the arts. And it's been so beneficial for thousands upon thousands of students that have gone through our schools and had the opportunity to be part of it. So we look forward to many more years of the same. And now that you have told us really how great it is and how easy it is to do things, we look for more. We yearn for more. Okay, there's a compliment.
All right, well, thank you for, I wanted to echo what Anne Marie and Mr. O'Neill said, because I remember when I first came on the board, I think I was sitting right here, we did the interviews to get appointed. One of the things that I loved was that AUHSD had, even during the tough times, we as a district did not take a scalpel to the budget for visual arts and performing arts. So that was unprecedented, I think, in Orange County. And that is something that I always echoed. So I'm glad that, that's the history that has, to a certain extent, has allowed us to do what we're doing right now. So I want to thank all, not only the board members here, but board members in the past. And I always love the performance. I know my daughter is looking forward to coming to Anaheim High School and performing. So hopefully you'll still be there, Sharon. But and you have some really, I know Brian, you spoke, but everybody are behind you have cheerleaders of the program. So I thank you on behalf of AUHSD students and parents, as a future parent as well, because this is going to keep it going. But I have a couple of questions as well. Dr. Nian probably didn't tell you that, to do the necessary research on there. No, I mean, these are just a couple of simple questions, but also kind of for the board to have a little bit of an idea as to what we need to do, and of course, as superintendent of the cabinet as well. Well, let's start with the enrollment aspect of it, right? Have we seen VAPA students increase in numbers?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we have. We took a 30% hit in VAPA, 40% in performing arts. Last year, we came up about 11% from that low. I just ran the numbers today, even despite despite a slight decline in overall enrollment, we are up about 1,600 students across the district in visual performing arts. So it's about another 12.5% district-wide. Performing arts still lagging behind visual art a little bit, but
I mean, you mentioned about performing arts lagging, right? I mean, that's part of what I always see as good training ground for our students as well. I'm glad that we're bringing Savannah students to Anaheim. But what can we do as a board and as a cabinet to kind of maybe strategically invest in FAPA? I know we're doing it, but I want to see futuristic.
Go to shows, get people there as much as you can. I know that this board and cabinet have shown a commitment to do that for many years. Continuing that is really important. Continuing to fund visual and performing arts and our district-wide events, both using LCFF and Title IV and grants to be able to do that. In the fall, I don't know if I can talk about this, but in the fall, there's a ballot proposition 28. That is a music and arts funding initiative that will increase music and arts only funding for all school districts, and it will be 1% of LCFF. So it's like an $800 million to $1 billion ongoing, not single year, not 2-3 years, but ongoing funding for music and the arts without raising taxes. There's no tax increase according to that. And so that would be getting the community aware, or at least that that's out there, not that maybe beyond our purview as a school district, but you ask. Supporting elective alignment between the junior highs and the high schools, making sure that just continuing that process of making sure that we're creating something here. At the junior highs, those students have somewhere to go as we're building those programs, because the master schedule drives everything that we do. So just continuing to support good master schedule work and the mindset. I think the last thing is just making sure we all have the mindset that it's not about talent. It's all about a sequential set of discrete skills that are taught over years and honed by folks who are just tremendous educators. Because like we said, we did that show with folks, there was one person, I think, who could act and dance and sing all at the same time. And we had a cast of 50, and the show was incredible because it's a set of skills, and it's a lever for equity in our community. Our students they're every bit as good as students who have more training, more private lessons, more studying, all of that kind of stuff. And we've shown that year after year after year. So just continuing to support that mindset. I think those are the things off the top.
So I know Mike wants to say something, but I also want to kind of pinpoint that yesterday at ROP we were talking about the importance of kind of talking about our programs and tuning our own horns in terms of not only saying what a great program we have, but also that attracts students who might want to come to our district, right? So I know we do a great job with our PIO. John does a tremendous job of being there and putting together. But I think I'll encourage everybody who has social media to kind of take that opportunity to share it, because I think that's an important aspect of it. I know one of the reasons that my boss, we decided to do the funding for some of our arts folks programs in our school districts is because of that, right? Because we saw the need of our programs, and we decided, you know what, we have some extra funding, let's go ahead and do that. So you get those type of opportunities once when we have the opportunity to go out there and roll out our district. And what are the other schools which don't have theater?
High schools?
High schools. You said Savannah.
Well, Savannah, we can think about this. Kennedy it used to be a wasteland. Like about 4 years ago, I think there were 4 high schools. Kennedy just started. Cypress just started. They're both second-year programs now. Magnolia has a program. Savannah does not. Let's see, Catella has 1 class.
Junior high.
Western has 1 class.
Junior highs don't have theater. Most of the junior highs don't have theater. There's not a theater program to Anaheim. Singapore doesn't have theater. And Rutgers does, but Savannah doesn't have theater.
That's part of it because of the.
Oxford doesn't have theater.
Just some of the alignment. Over at Oxford doesn't have theater. Just some of that junior high, high school alignment.
Strategically, you guys got to do what you got to do, but I know we have to decide on those. But Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to
team, Ryan, that was, you know, a great presentation, bring us all up to speed. We all noticed that when your voice cracked, looking back on, you know, what the teachers accomplished, especially with performing arts. And it is traumatizing what we've been through and what the adults have been through, what the teachers have been through. And this is a story of renewal from trauma. And I really commend you, and I know you represent your colleagues. There's a lot of other unsung heroes out there. And I really want to also thank the board for supporting the arts and health and recognizing from day one how important this is. More than ever, post-COVID, the arts and performing arts are so vital to healing our young people, including our adults. So on behalf of all the teachers out there and all of us, thank you. Thank you.
Kristen?
Thank you very much.
If I'm not mistaken, this board passed a resolution already supporting that proposition, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think maybe before it became a proposition number.
Maybe before it became.
Before it became a proposition number, yeah.
I don't think we need to do it again because we have the proposition. Okay. Most importantly, as a board, we support. We'll ask about it, we'll talk about it at the beginning of the level, right? So we can get that done.
Savannah does have theater as part of the GLA program. It's the theater by Mr. Villa, I believe, and a few other stuff. It's not the same thing, but theater.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so we are going to move on to our items of business. We'll start off with resolutions. 9.1, resolution number 2022/23-E-01, annual certification of course-based independent study for the 2022-23 year. It's a roll call vote. I have a motion on the floor. This is a roll call vote, and no discussion. I'll take the vote with Ms. Randall Trejo. Ms. Smith. Mr. O'Neill. Aye. I vote aye. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, I gotta make a comment.
Sure.
Okay. Last Friday, I was at the concert of the Green, in Cyprus, and I'm part of the Lawrence, and I was making it. One of the parents came up to me, and she said, "You're on the board," and she says, "My son took CBA, and he is so happy." She says, "He has found his niche." You know, and it's just like, and I said, you know, that is so good to hear, because we are trying to, supply unique opportunities for students, and everybody's different. And so here's a young man who was never really happy in the comprehensive high school, and he's taking CBA, and he absolutely loves it. And he's just been, really succeeding well. And she was just so happy and so thanking me for my district, putting forth and giving him, that type of opportunity. So I just have to let you know that I heard that. There was a parent who was very, very happy, and her son is very, very happy, because we're offering some students who just don't feel comfortable in a comprehensive school cycle, and yet they want to learn, and then they will, given them the right situation. So, kudos for that. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just had to,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Ms. Pearson. All right, we'll go to business services. 9.2, consulting agreement with Eric Paul and Associates. Do I have a motion? Seeing none, I will move on to 9.3, transportation agreement, Orange County Asian and Pacific Islander Community Alliance, action item.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposition? Seeing none, motion passes unanimously. 9.4, award request for proposal Proposals 2022-24 Full Service Human Resources Software Solution Action Item. Have a motion and a second. Any questions?
Do we really want to make it easier for our HR? I understand that, the combination of these programs are going to be a big boom to our HR department, and, I'm so
All right, so we have a motion and a second on the floor, and all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Educational Services, remember to our understanding, the Regents of the University of California, San Diego, action item.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. 9.6, Agreement, Californians for All Youth Workforce Development Grant, action item. Motion and a second. Any questions? Seeing none.
I just, this is such a neat opportunity for our kids, this is, the grant that, the MAC has utilized. And when I went to the, when Sharon Perksova came to view the MAC garden hall, I was talking to the gentleman, I can't remember his name, the man on who they were, the youth jobs thing came through. And this was such a rapidly executed thing that we got, and we got these kids actually working, and, there's 10 of them, and they're being paid, and they're working and learning, and they're loving it. And they've done such a good job. I mean, I really enjoyed listening to them talk about what they did and how much they had learned. And of course, now I'm a gardener, so I love the fact that these kids are learning all that and getting back to nature. They took us on a tour and were pointing out what vegetables these were and all that. It's great, and so I thought, oh, we've got to keep working with them to get even more of that grant, so.
I can't support President Jabbar. I think Amy Kwan, she's sitting here,
Yeah.
she's really taking the lead on this project, but to Trustee Pearson's point, this is in partnership with the city of Anaheim. They have a $4.7 million grant, and you're the only funded grant that's come out of it so far. This was only $60,000. And I spoke with Amy earlier today, and it looks like we'll position to receive additional money because of this experience. And the students this summer, it wasn't just what they were doing at Magnolia's farm, but it was also what they were doing from ILA and learning skills. So this was definitely not just a unique experience for students being out on the farm, but it was connected to the instruction, which is what we're trying to go for a community school approach. There's an instructional aspect to what we're bringing to the classroom that's supporting these community school efforts. So it's a tremendous opportunity. I want to thank Amy Kwan for her leadership in bringing this partnership together. I think in October, we're going to be bringing a presentation to the board regarding what happened this summer at the farm with the ILS. And our hope is that we can take that to the city council because of the city's partnership.
That's what I had too, because, the learning part that they did in the iLab, they developed these little information sheets, and they did all the little, they used a 3D printer to create these strippers for like the kale. And then they came up and designed a stamp for the program, and they stamped the boxes, and they created other stickers. And so they, they're developing all of this in the iLab at Western, because Noah is working with them in the iLab a couple days a week, and the other couple of days a week they were at the actual garden. But they're doing it all, and then they pick and then they create these, boxes of greenery, and they are creating a sales program for it, as well as finding places to donate a lot of the produce, and that sometimes proved to be very difficult, finding an organization that could handle all the stuff that was coming out of the garden. So it's just a phenomenal learning experience for all.
It was great. Is there opportunities to purchase those boxes too, right? Because it was, on social media, I had a friend that actually posted, but he was from La Habra. Apparently, he actually purchased it and he posted it on his community feed. And then next thing you know, it was kind of, everybody was reposting it back and forth. So that's great.
$20 a
$20.
When I was at Magoy the other day, they just had Laura, who's one of our active parents, that was a parent.
That's Laura.
Yeah, she was able to pick up a box that she purchased. So, yeah.
right, so we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, 9.7, school-sponsored student organizations.
Second.
Motion is second, any questions?
A lot of it's great to stay here.
Cypress got activated. All right, well, I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Superintendent's Office, revised board policy 6203.1. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions? See none? Motion, vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Consent calendar, unanimously pulled.
10.12, number I, or letter I.
Thank you. Entertain a motion to
So
approve.
move balance.
Second.
A motion and a second for the balance. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We'll take a entertain a motion for 10.12.
Aye.
Aye, aye. We have a motion. Second. And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention?
Aye.
Okay, we have a 401. And we go to superintendent and staff report. Superintendent. Report, Mr. Salazar. Okay, I know, we'll start with Ms. Pearson.
Well, I've already reported one of the things I did. Visited the math lab, I love that. And I also did attend the leadership advance in the morning of Thursday. And it was really good. I enjoyed that. Unfortunately, I was there. Such a fun. Okay. And then I did attend the Cypress High parent meeting on Tuesday, the 26th of July, about the field. In other words, we've had a lot of complaints about the condition of the fields. And so to remedy a situation that has been kind of bad for a long time, we had a meeting and Dr. Neal was there to present along with Annie Neely about what we are planning to do. The board made the decision that we're going to do it. So there's going to be a new football field and track. And I was talking to the Cypress High principal this morning. I visited Cypress High, and she had an idea. She's going to have to present to Nancy about that field. Maybe we can move it a little bit north and then put a softball field in the corner for the girls, so the girls could have two softball fields instead of just one. So there's an idea. We have other ideas. I have other ideas for Cypress. One of them has to do with the dating. I'm sorry, but I visit and then they tell me these things and I agree. Okay. Anyways, anything when I went to Anaheim when I first got on board, they gave me a tour of the pool. Last year.
I just want to put that on record.
I said, I'm not going to oppose it. Tell you, when I went there and had this tour, there was no pool. And I was a gas, there was no pool. It was totally dry. And then they took us down underneath the boiler room. It was like the Titanic. Oh my, it was so old and it was like, oh, no wonder they drained it. So anyway, we finally got a pool there. I was on the, and we tried something else to get the pool a long time ago. All right, then I also went to the Magnolia High School's cap ceremony, white cap ceremony for the cybersecurity thing. Again, we have another cohort. This new freshman class is Charlie, right? Charlie class. So we've got Charlie and Alpha and Beta. So Alpha will be graduating this year, right? The juniors? All the juniors. Okay. And then Beta is sophomores, and then Charlie. But anyway, I attended that parent meeting at Cypress. But anyway, I also this morning attended the coffee with the principal at Lexington. He did an excellent job of presenting to the parents. Good turnout. I think we must have had over 45 parents there, if not 50, and then another 30 some are more online. So very good turnout for his coffee. And I was really, really impressed with his presentation and how he covered everything with parents.
Which school is it?
Lexington. Yeah. And he gave them the opportunity to ask questions and all. So it was very good. We had the human relations gal that was on campus. She did a presentation as well. And but I was just, I really think he did a really good job. Covered a lot of things with the parents. And I think it was very helpful. And that's about what I've done so far.
Okay, so, congratulations to a fantastic opening. I felt like no news was good news, but we did hear, Al and I went to our ROP meeting yesterday and got reports from the directors there, and they said that every campus that they visited was just beaming, and just everybody was just really happy to be on campus as we heard earlier. And so congratulations, and it's just going to be a fabulous year. It. And I attended the international conference and they did a fabulous job describing that wonderful conference, and it really was we had fabulous speakers, very impressive people, but again it's those students who were highlighted at the last night, and we all thought as a group that they should have students the first day. Maybe they bring back their graduates or something that and kind of start and kick off the event with the student speakers first. And I know that they needed to be cultivated, and but they tackled some really amazing subjects over there, and just told us what they wanted with their education. And always, as I have been saying for years, when I go to conferences, workshops, we in AUHSD, we're doing it. We're always leading, and it was again a validation of all the hard work, with all of the innovation, and putting students first and families first in education, giving the students what they want. And we heard it from their mouths exactly what AUHSD is doing, and that was very heartwarming. And then I really appreciated going out in the middle of the afternoon to the site where the work for our district was done, and I felt such a cohesiveness, and rolling out the capstone, how really encapsulated, I feel like, all the 9-10 years that we've been working towards all of this. And it was really amazing to just, in my mind, to solidify, wow, this is amazing. And I don't take that word lightly. We need I think unlimited doesn't, because we are giving students an unlimited source of the carpet is just being rolled out for them. They really can tackle anything that's handled to them, if we're doing our work right. So anyway, congratulations on that conference. I really felt, and I think that a lot of our leaders felt that cohesiveness as well, and felt that the or how, we know or why, but it was really just kind of like wrapping everything up and tying it in a bow. And the work is hard. We always say it, but I think that validation from that conference, we're leading and we're doing it right. So thank you for that. I attended the welcome back luncheon for the SELPA. Board was invited to a luncheon for their ABA intervention. Yes, they have about 50 that help all the districts that are involved in the SELPA. And of course, AUHSD has the most. But that training that we were doing is a week-long training to get certified as their interventionists. And they can really, we talk about our students' needs. They will have this expertise and going into the classrooms. And I was able to, to welcome them back to a new school year and thank them personally because of the work that I do. They know what they do. I attended the white cap, but I was online. I don't know if that's cheating, but it was there. And it was just a really tremendous celebration of our partnership. And I couldn't think of the new cohort's name, so thank you, it's Charlie. But amazing, those students, the Alpha students, and what they're already, what they already have accomplished in that cohort. I attended the ROP, the back to school in service. They always do a fabulous, wonderful job in celebrating and doing a great kickoff. And they had a wonderful speaker. But again, this was really innovative. And they hadn't had a student speaker before, but this time they did a student panel. And again, ask the students, what do you want in your education, or how have our programs helped you? And really, they honestly answered, the questions and what do you want out of your education? What was the most important? What was the impact? His impact is their team. And he said the student-teacher relationship was the most important thing that they need to get, to get what they, to give them the confidence and the know-how to succeed. And the students were just really able to, they were able to articulate that in different areas. One was sign language ASL, another one, our students was in biomedical program, another student was in the adult nursing or nursing program, another student actually working as an EMT. And so it's just really a partnership with ROP really enhances the work that we're doing here years. And yesterday at our presentation, I can't do it justice, but they were talking about the experiences of a lot of the graduates are having, and they're actually working in the industries. And I think we need to do more of that. We do talk about some of our students getting some wonderful jobs, but I think we all have to start really, just really doing a better job of telling those success stories. And let's see, I attended the leadership advance as well. And in my other capacity, I did some professional development of restorative practices, which is always wonderful. And I also got to revisit or take another course with Pearson on hazard with captured guitars, which is always a wonderful justice program that we have and he all sends all of us in his best wishes. And we're going to have a great new year, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Rafter.
Okay, well, I don't have a lot to report on, but I did want to share that the building trades newspaper comes to board members here in the district. And I always enjoy reading what trade unions do. And there's a really sad story in here. Commission votes to sink the site. And the city of Costa Mesa voted unanimously to put in a desalinization plant. And it just is mind-boggling to me in this day and age when water is, in my opinion, the number one issue. And it was just extremely informative, and it saddened me that because they would have done the work. And now, and I want to refer back to Adela's report to the board. And that after you spoke and gave that extensive information of what we're doing in our school system for kids, young people, families, and in the areas of psychology and social work, I spoke about a hospital that I became aware of here in West Anaheim. And it used to be a general hospital that was closed, and apparently an entity has opened this hospital. And so it was in the Orange County Register, and I drove over there with my husband and went in, and we spoke to a male nurse. And he said that they were opening up on the 22nd of the month. And that it was to treat mentally ill and addiction. And because we are so impacted in our society with mental illness and addiction problems and homelessness, it just seemed like a wonderful thing that this is now offering. And they take all insurance. So that was such a key. So on the 22nd, I went over there because they were opening up. And guess what? They were not open. And I asked to speak to the male nurse, and the two gals behind the window said he wasn't available. And I said, well, when are you going to open up? And they didn't have an answer. Well, when I reported this initially, I said, I asked the male nurse, is the funding for this hospital private or public? And he went like this. And that to me was such a key, because who pays this check? Pays their checks. And that just put a great big question mark in my head. And it made me wonder, what is going on? So I pick up the register on August 2nd, and the front page, Rehab Riviera. Addiction care provider must pay for fraud. And I called Dr. Nia and told her about this, and I think really our insurance committee should know about this, that Gallagher would be aware of, because we provide mental health care. And this article is very informative, and the two men that are now facing the government, putting them in jeopardy, are in South County. And I'm going to leave the article for anybody that would state need in society for the type of care that they state they provide. And guess what's happening? And I have been very suspect because I watched Dr. Phil and many of the people that are on his program. He says, I'll send you to. And he'll mention, and they'll show a picture of the front of the care facility in Malibu with swimming pools and fancy homes. And I think that this is an opening to what is going on. And I've noticed recently, he has not offered those cure places for people that are in his program. So maybe there's no way to be there. I don't know how this is all going to fall out. But Adele, for what you do, in your team of people, for what you do, I thought I had something that would be some sort of backup for needs. And this is just devastating. So at least you all are aware of what apparently is going on, and it's a reality. So that place apparently is never open. We don't know who's paying the overhead. And they said they had one other facility down in Aliso, Diego. And he described it to me, and it sounded like one of these Riviera places.
Kelly, no, it's not something like that, so I just wanted to correct the record too. Aliso Viejo is already open, and the one in Anaheim just got approved yesterday at the county board. So they will be opening up their doors pretty soon. So it's a funding is private plus, Medi-Cal related funding too, so it's both.
And one of the things that I want to share with you all, that over the years, these entities, privately owned entities, have what they call finders. And they go to different communities. For example, they might go to an airport in Boston and find someone. And then they schlep them out to their facility in Malibu or wherever. And then they run out the insurance. And when the insurance is cut off, they take the person to a park and leave them there. And I've been aware of this for a number of years, but until this article actually came out, it just only filtered into what I've been thinking. So anyway, it's here for anybody who wants to read it.
And Kathy,
So I have some good news, so to kind of make you feel better, because we do have some control over what we can do in our district. And forgive me, Adela, I completely forgot, the back to school event that you graciously put together every year for our homeless families. It's not something we advertise, it's invitation only for our families, and she does a tremendous job. You have several partners that you work with, and they get together every year selflessly, and they provide, I saw students with brand new, quality speakers. And as I was walking in, they were bringing out the sheets to the students, and I can't even explain how elated the students were. There was an organization getting out backpacks for our students, and it wasn't just like, navy or black. These were beautiful backpacks, so the kids were so happy to get them, and they were showing them off. Haircuts provided by a top-notch organization, coming from Costa Mesa. Trying to give them a plug, but I mean, you get the people there that really want to do good in the world. And we had Healthy Smiles, we had, mentioned them earlier, medical facility, of them. And then, of course, we had a lot of agencies there to provide a lot of resources for our families. We had several students there helping out, playing some games and just providing a really fun, celebratory atmosphere for our families in need. And so, Adela, on behalf of all of us, thank you so much for that. That's what we do have control over. Have good people like Adela and our wonderful families. It was held at Gilbert High School, which I love.
Thank you. Tony?
John was here at a board meeting a month or two ago, and he was talking about why today in the Anaheim Bulletin, there's an announcement that they're having their annual deal at the convention center on the 20th. And it looks like it's going to be crazy and promising. He does a wonderful job.
Sonia?
What if I just talking about that sort of feel, I just had a pull up an email that I had a couple days ago and sort of TO on what you said. An organization is going to be using Oxford Academy, and they'll be giving away 500 name brand shoes and two special needs students at Hope School on the 26th. And a student at Oxford Academy is coordinating this. Organization that I support. So when that happens, I'll report back because I'm sure that I will be at that event. I attended a little bit of leadership advance, which from what I saw was well worthwhile, and I attended the balance of it, but it looked great what was going on. So kudos to the leadership there. And then yesterday I got to all but 2 schools, and the only reason I didn't get to those 2 schools is because it was time for the schools, junior highs to get out. And the line down the street for the cars was astronomical. I said, well, I'm not going to go to these 2 schools. So it was just, I guess they were there to pick up their students. So I made it off. So, but I got to all the other ones, and I have to agree with what Greg Schuster said earlier. And that was the vibes on the campus, the enthusiasm. From the students to the teachers to the administration, everybody was excited, and they were saying it was running so smoothly, and all the students and teachers were so excited to be back in the classroom that they were really looking for a great year. So I'm hoping the rest of the year will continue on that way as it did yesterday, and I haven't heard anything catastrophe happening today. So I think the secondary running, we're running in the right direction. So thank you for all that you do to get the education out to our students. And I know you'll be working with the site leadership throughout the year to make sure that everything goes smoothly. So, all right.
Thank you, Sonia. All right, I'll make it quick too here. So I attended the Anaheim High School PTA breakfast on Monday. Actually, on Tuesday, they did a wonderful job of putting up a good spread for our teachers and staff. I also attended a Kids Expo, which I spoke to Suda this afternoon about. We had Anaheim students actually participated in it. It was a 6-month course for students who actually to teach them about starting a business, saving, investing, and how to be a good entrepreneur. And there were students who actually set up tables and showing us what they are going to do. So we had a Laura student who actually was going to start up a martial arts academy or class. And then he also was a ROP student who happened to get a certification to fly drones. And he was going to do a business for realtors on exposing their real estate company or real estate for their business, and also weddings. So it's great to see our students are really taking that and running with it. We also had some elementary school students participate. Great to hear. I also went to the community schools retreat, which was a great turnout, and loved hearing everything that our teachers had to say about why they're there. So I know it's going to be a successful event for us. Attended the Magnolia High School Cybersecurity White Cap ceremony. It was great to see our students really enthusiastic about it, especially our Charlie group, which is coming in. And then I attended the Leadership Academy. That was great. And I also attended our Anaheim High School registration process just to check out. It was great to see there. Washington, D.C., our Europe, I just love, I think I want to encourage all board members, if they have an opportunity to go sit down. It's not only about the conference, but it's also actually sitting down with your administrators or walking with the administrators and talking about issues, right? And talking about how we as board members could be impactful. So I think that's a great opportunity for us to, I know we can do that here, but I think it's always great to be in a different setting so that we don't have these guys watching over, really tell you the truth. I'm just kidding. They didn't share any secrets, don't worry. No, but it was great, and that was one of the opportunities I always take to talk to our administrators to learn about what works, what doesn't work, so that we can fix it as board members, or at least guide our superintendent in that direction. And also the ability or the kudos and the appreciation that we receive from all other school districts. I know nationally our superintendent was recognized for the work that he does, so that was great to see. But every presentation that we attended, I think you saw people just literally after the presentation were like, "How can we do that in our school district?" Right? So that was like the really good wipe that you got, but that also kind of affirmed that our district is in the right direction and doing the right things for our students, and that we are a leader at it. So kudos to our team for doing that. So thank you for that. And I also want to talk about ROP. Yesterday we were at the ROP meeting. Our new superintendent there is all about making sure that we create an impact. That's the word of the day or year. And they also wanted to talk a lot about the program. So I just wanted to kind of highlight some of that. I know we have Gail, who actually presented really well for us yesterday, but I want to talk about the programs that they had during the summer. I wanted to highlight this. The medical assistance students hired as of 8/11/22. There was an Anaheim High School student, Cypress High School student, Catella High School student, the Savannah High School student. All of them got jobs offered during the summer. And there were also students who were offered jobs, but they declined. And that was from Anaheim High School, again, a Kennedy student, because they were going to UC Berkeley RN program, and another one to Johns Hopkins University for pre-med. So our students are doing really great, and love the partnership with ROP. I want to talk a little bit more about it. I know that we'll invite you to make a presentation to us. I think every cycle I want to highlight that because that's now the new mantra. So thank you very much for all the work that you're doing. I appreciate it. All right, and having said that, let's go to our next, which is agenda setting. Any agenda items? Oh, events plan. Future meeting dates. Next board meeting is September 13th at 6 p.m. Any suggested agenda items?
I would like to suggest that we ask for our leaders in our schools to remind our students about the issue of water and how important it is to this state and to our community. And I called Magnolia High School district office the other day, and I spoke to Dr. Deanne's counterpart, and I saw 10 sprinklers run in front of the school for 3 hours. And when I spoke to him, I explained to him, if we don't show respect for water, and you are doing what you're doing, and it's gone on for weeks.
You're talking about Magnolia School District.
In front of Walt Disney Elementary. And I think that's something that we need to be aware of, that who is responsible for our sprinklers and how long they run. Because I think that until we become aware of this issue of water, we are going to be in dire straits if we don't take it seriously.
I know it's not an agenda item, but maybe that could be done through current district. You guys figure it out. All right, okay.
And for me, not so much an agenda item, but since Brian said that he had told us data, I'd like to see that.
That would be a Friday letter, maybe?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, adjournment.
Moved.
Oh, wait, hold on one second.
I failed in my staff report to acknowledge a birthday in the audience.
Oh,
I know we're all in celebration, so Miss Amy Klein celebrated her probably 23rd birthday today. So. Happy birthday, Amy.
All right, so adjournment.
Yes, indeed.
Did I have a motion? Okay, well, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes